Okay, here we are with chapter 3 of our Visio tutorial. Isabel?
Chapter 3.
Jazz hands.
Sick of this.
You're going to get more sick. I still got a bit more to go. Anyway, so we're going to look at the spokes now in chapter 3 because it's a bit different to these circles. So I'm going to start by drawing a couple of lines. The first line is this line. Not worried too much about where it starts and ends, and it represents the bottom of the spoke.
Could you tell Robin that in the background there might be music?
Oh yes, there might be some music in the background. Just try and ignore it. Robin, what are we doing? Looking at...
I'm trying to figure out what intro this guy needs.
Yeah, for when we edit our videos a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
So this line represents the top of that spoke. And you can see it's kind of, I'm not too worried about where it starts and ends. What I do want to do though, so I want to actually make this a polygon. So we're going to try doing this. We can join it to the line that we made before. No, not working. Let's try that. We can use the join command. And if it works, we can fill it with... Oh, there we go. So we know it works. So if we can fill it with a color, we know that it works. Now I want another polygon, and I actually want a polygon that starts at the very center and joins up with this other guy like this. So what we can do is take these two polygons, union them together, and get one polygon which sort of represents a spoke with a bit of extra stuff and is centered on the center of the wheel. So we're going to make another one. So we copy it. 6 spokes, they're at 60 degrees from each other. And we also know that this sort of pointy bit should be centered on the center of the wheel. So there's 2 spokes. The next spoke will be at 120 degrees. Again, we'll center this sort of funny little point on the center of the wheel. Interestingly, it looks a bit off, but that could be errors in the scan. So I'm not going to do all the spokes. I've just done 3. It's a weird 3-spoke wheel. Now, what we can do then is just sort of trim things up. So I'm going to start by taking these shapes which represent the different spokes, unioning them together. That gets rid of some of the sort of extra guff. And I'm going to take that shape, 3 spokes, and this circle that represents that inner flange of the wheel, and I'm going to use the fragment tool. And this sort of breaks it all up into different shapes. And that means I can start to remove the extra bits and pieces, like this guy here, that I don't want. So now the spokes end on that circle. So depending on how we want to build this, we could either just leave it as is and color things in. So it's actually fragmented that inner circle as well. So what we may want to do is just clean that up later. Doesn't matter. So you can see we've actually got a big piece of pie here, whereas what we actually wanted was a circle. So what I might just quickly do is clean that up. So we'll take all these bits of pie that we no longer need. And I think what we've now got is just a big circle hiding behind it. Yep, that's good. So let's say we wanted the spokes to be coloured in one colour for our drawing. What we'll also do is we're going to do the same kind of trick. So we're going to take the spokes and this circle for the centre hub, and we're going to do another fragment, right? So that gets us a couple of fragments. So that's, we can change. So what we'll do is we're going to put this circle back together with a union, color it a different color. No, we broke it. Thanks, Billy. Well, for now, what we might just do is bring this circle to the front and colour it in. And there's another circle behind it, which we can bring to the front. And what we can do is do a subtract and chop out the middle bit. So now okay. And what we can do is take this ring and make a copy of it. So we get two of them. We'll stack them one on top of the other. And what I'm going to do is use one of them to fragment the spokes. And now what we can do is delete all the guff that we don't require. And we've now got, you can see this spoke shape with a nice big cutout in the middle and a kind of a hub shape. And we can basically kind of just keep on doing this sort of trickery until we get what we want. So I can take the wheel rim and remove this sort of, I'll show you. So let's say we do a subtract, right, and it chops out that inner circle. I'll make that different color. Now if I wanted to, I could join the wheel rim and the spokes together, right, and have a single shape that was just the whole, in a sense, the whole wheel. Now you might see that there's this line, some of these lines here, that suggests that the union didn't work quite perfectly. And the way that we would fix that is probably by altering the shapes, and just, we need a little bit of meat to cover up that line. So now we don't need the center lines anymore. Right, and we can format this however we want. We'll send the lines to black. Leave it colored in the way that it is. And we basically just can keep playing with unions and fragments and so on. Whoops, so obviously the phone rang, but I don't want to restart the video. So let's just finish this off. We're going to get rid of this little funny artifact in the middle here. And there's one more trick that I want to show you. So these spokes, I think, have got a fillet on them. So let's make a little circle, which can be for the fillet. Again, nice thin lines. We'll blow this up as much as we can. And we're going to attempt to place this circle in just the right position to get us a fillet. Now, what we're going to try and do is actually we want the fillet shape. So we've got no way to get the fillet shape. So I'm just going to put a kind of a rectangle. I'm going to put a rectangle behind or in front of all this stuff. And the rectangle will be turned into a fillet. So I'm going to put the rectangle in here. And I'm going to use the rectangle to fragment the spokes and the circle and the rectangle. And then we get all sorts of crazy shapes. So if we delete the shapes that refer to the circle, it didn't work. So back that out. I'm going to make this circle in front. And we're going to make it a little bit closer to the spokes. We're going to try and fragment again. Then we delete the bits of the fragment that represent the circle and these sort of random extra bits of, okay, and so we're getting closer. And then what we can do is union these bits back together and we get a fairly lousy fillet. But if we were to be a bit more accurate about this and manipulate where that circle was, we get a bit of a more accurate fillet. And that's about it for this chapter.